I'm going to try to explain configurable joins best I can. And I'll use an example of a situation I ran into that really forced me to get a handle on these. So I've got this workflow. There are a couple bins. There's a reader one and a reader two bin. What I need to do is query a list of these 39 application records that are in this reader two bin at the moment. And I need only those 39 that aren't assigned to somebody. Because what happens is reader one bin gets assigned. The reader then submits a reader form and advances it to reader two. And then we need to run a query to see, well, which ones are in this bin that need assigned to someone else. And it needs to be a different person. Reader two needs to be a different person than reader one was. The same person can't read it twice. So in a normal query, this was easy. You use the application base. I would filter this down by certain programs and degree types and the current round. And I would just, in that application base, just say, okay, queue assignment does not exist. That was a filter. And the current bin is reader two. I had a filter for that. No configurable join required. But then what happened is we're on a shared instance, and these workflows needed to be spread out. Every division needed to have its own workflow, and those ended up in their own bases in the database. So they're no longer in the application database. So as I'm querying it, I'm realizing those workflow bin, those queue assignment filters, and those reader two bin filters weren't working anymore because I needed to join this new base. So when you look at the configurable join, I can use application for everything up into queue assignment does not exist. Well, that's a workflow bin. And the reader two bin, I need to find those that are in this bin up here. Well, that's its own base now as well. I have to join that base to workflow records. And if you're an IT tech specialist and you're writing SQL, this makes sense to you because you just write it out as, join this base and filter this way and that. But Slate has its own way of doing this. And let me give you an example. So I'm going to configurable join when I write this query, and the base, I'm going to use application because most of what I need is in that base. But the one thing I have to join is, again, I need to get to this reader two bin right here, right? So I'm going to not filter because that's only application filters right now. So I hit filter. I'm not going to find it. I need to hit this subquery and then hit join. And I want to join the workflow records. See, there's a lot of divisions in here with their own workflows. I want my division, SA, continue, save. And now I'm going to use a filter on that join. So the filter, if I scroll down to direct filters, it's right at the top. My join is right here. It'll always be right there at the top, your most recent join. So I'm going to hit bin, continue, choose that reader two bin, save. There, 39. It's exactly what I was looking for here. 39 records are in that bin. So I can say reader two bin exists. If I say not exists, it'll export every single application record that's not in that bin. Well, I want the ones that are in that bin. So I choose exists. Save. And now half the battle is done here. The join worked. I got 39 records I can query on. But also remember, I need to make sure that when I run this query, I'm only assigning out records that aren't already in someone's queue. So how many is that? Well, that's a new join. So I'm going to do a subquery filter again. This time I'm going to join workflow bin user queue. That's in its own base. Continue, save. And now I can see that 28 of those 39 records are assigned to someone. Well, I want to know where it doesn't exist. It's not assigned to someone. So not assigned. Well, I can say assigned to a queue doesn't exist, right? Save that, and that brings me down to 11. So there's 11 application records in Reader 2 bin. They exist in that bin, but they do not exist in a queue. That's exactly what I need. Um, One more thing, and this is help. This will explain exports. I also, when I run this query, need to know who the first reader was because I don't want to assign it again to that same person. So in every row, every 11 rows here, I need to know who was the first reader. Well, the first reader submitted a reader form. So I'm going to join on the form. So in this export, I'm going to do a subquery for the export. And here I'm going to join workflow bin user queue. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do forms, right? It's a reader form they submit. So I'm going to join the forms. Now, reader forms are application scoped forms. So this is an application form response. So I'm going to join form responses and continue. And I don't want all forms. I just want a specific one. And I look for the folder that it's in. I have a reader folder here where I keep all these reader forms, and I'm going to choose the right one. That's the reader one. Save. Now I'm not done yet, because all I'm doing now is exporting form responses. What I want to export is the person who submitted that form, the form submitter. So I'm going to join on that reader one form. I'm going to join the form submitter base and continue there. So first I joined the form, then I joined from within the form submitter. Now I can export. If I scroll down, form submitter, that's my join. This is my other join down here, but right at the top is my form submitter, and I'm going to submit. I want to know their full name, the person who submitted that form. And then I call that reader one name. Now, if I want to export more things, this is rank one, the most recent form submitter. There's only one reader. So, but I can concatenate and export a whole bunch of stuff with commas, like form submission date, the final score, all kinds. I could export all that stuff in the same column, separated by comma or a slash mark, and do it that way, instead of creating multiple rows for that stuff. But no, I'm just going to rank one. All I need to know is who the first reader was. So I join the form and then the form submitter of that reader one. Save. That way, when I run this query, I'll know exactly who the first reader was. Then all I have to do is assign it to someone else. And everything else I need is in the application base. So I'm done with my configurable join. I can export program, term, degree, round, and I can filter by program, degree, round, anything I want there. Now, before I conclude, I just want to point out I was using subqueries here. You can go down here to the bottom right and just hit join and join this entire query, but do all of your joins at once. And all these little joins I did, I can just join the whole query right here, and then I don't have to do these subqueries. But it depends how you want to do it. I mean, I only had a few things I needed to do a join with, so I just did them as subqueries. Everything else is in the application base. I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense. This isn't easy. It took me a long time to even figure this out right here. But if you have suggestions on how I could have done this one better, or you still have questions, please post them in the comments. So good luck writing your configurable join queries.